Welcome to Club Reddit, where being a member is always free. Simply mash that subscribe button and relax into a new video each day. We're going to start off this Entitled Parents video with a story titled, Entitled Mother Demanded I Let Her Son Play with My New iPhone. Backstory: my old phone iPhone 6s Plus got water damaged and was almost unusable, so we brought it to the Genius Bar to see if we could get it fixed. They couldn't. I was going to get a new phone with my mom and I was expecting one of their earlier phones, so you could imagine how shocked I was when she let me get the 11. I was so happy with it. Back to the story. It was about that time when I had to get flu shots, so my mom and I went to get them. This is in England, so there are the two seats next to each other facing forward in rows, and behind us there is a entitled mother and entitled kid. My mom leaves to go get snacks from the back thing of the train. That's when the entitled kid strikes. He leans over the seat and watches me play Crossy Road for a while. I'm fine with this because he wasn't doing anything harmful or annoying to me. He asks me for a turn, which I politely declined. I didn't have a case or screen protector yet, so I didn't want him to drop it or get fingerprints on the screen. He goes back to entitled mother and, from what I can hear, says, "That kid said I couldn't play with his phone," in that annoyed tone. The entitled mother gets out of her seat and comes to talk with me. I explain how it is new and she kind of calms down and goes back to her seat and says to her kid that it's new, but the kid stands on his seat and bends over the back of my seat and tries to snatch my phone. My bad, but I push his arm out of the way because I didn't know what he was going to do with it. The entitled mother is furious now and is barking at me. I felt so embarrassed because everyone on the train was looking at me weird. I tell her sorry, but luckily my mom comes back and tells her to back off, and then they start arguing. After a little while they seem to calm down a little bit, but they are still mad. A voice goes over the speaker and says, stop," and we get off and go to the doctor. I hope we never have to see them again. Next up we have, Karen tells me to get off her property. I'm not on it. This happened a couple years ago. I remember it like it happened yesterday. The cast: N equals Nolan, Brady equals Brady, me equals me, BD equals Brady's dad, the Chad entitled parent equals Karen, EG equals entitled grandma. Backstory: my best friend at the time was Brady. And we hung out with Nolan, our other friend. Then I got into an argument with him, which resulted him being grounded and me not allowed to see him. Now to the story. I was playing at Brady's house. We were in his yard chasing each other. I was 11 at the time, he was 7. I saw Nolan staring at us through the window. At this time he was grounded. I was running and I accidentally stepped into their yard. It was like motion detection. As soon as it happened, I see the door to Nolan's house open. Entitled parent Karen and Nolan's mom walks out. Entitled parent: ahem. Me: huh. Entitled parent: what are you doing on my property? Me: oh sorry Ms. Karen. I didn't mean to step on you lawn. Entitled parent with a look of digits on her face: excuse me, don't lie to me little brat. You were trying to see Nolan, weren't you? Me: Brady walking up to me: Ms. Karen, he was running from me, we were playing tag, I don't think. Entitled parent: quiet. I wasn't talking to you. Entitled parent's mom comes out. Entitled grandmother: Nolan told me everything. He said you gave him some signal and started walking towards our yard. Me and Brady, confused. Entitled parent: I'm calling police on you for trespassing. Entitled grandmother: I think we might put a restraining order on you, ya little brat. I started to cry. At this point I was being yelled at and I was scared that I was going to be arrested. Through my tears I saw Nolan wearing the biggest, smuggest grin. Nolan: mom. I don't like him, make him go away. Entitled parent: don't worry baby, I'll get rid of him. I started to walk away. Entitled grandmother: don't you freaking move. I literally collapsed on the ground crying. Entitled parent called 911 and stared at me with evil intent. 15 minutes later a cop car pulls up. And the cop that comes out is none other than Brady's dad. Brady's dad in a sarcastic tone: what seems to be the problem, mom? Entitled grandmother and entitled parent tell their side of the story. Me and Brady do the same. Brady's dad: why don't I check my security cameras on my house? He disappears for 10 minutes. Entitled parent had a ghostly look on her face. Brady's dad: Ms. Karen and Ms. Karen's mom, what you said what was completely false. I'm giving you a warning this time. Entitled grandmother and entitled parent: but. Brady's dad glares at them. They walk away in defeat. And that's the end of that. Brady's dad goes back to work. I go home and Brady's goes inside his house. Next up we have, entitled Mother tries to steal my arcade card and gets instant karma. Hi everybody. So, this happened in 2019 BC, before COVID, and my dad and I still laugh about it to this day. A bit of relevant background info: ever since I was a kid, I loved going to arcades. I probably dragged my parents to every Chuck E. Cheese, RIP, Dave and Buster's, and generic family-owned arcade in the tri-state area. This story happened on a day my dad and I stopped at the nearest Dave and Buster's to grind for tickets and generally goof around. The way Dave and Buster's works is you buy a card and load it up with tokens, and you get more tokens the more money you spend, because capitalism. These tokens can be spent on the different games. With most games, you can win tickets for playing well, or beating the game. Tickets are the currency at these places, with which you can get prizes varying from candy to a Nintendo Switch. My dad and I have been saving up tickets for over a year to get a really big prize, and at the time we had saved between 50,000 and 75,000 tickets. And in our many times going to the same arcade, I got really good at one particular game. The game is called Kung Fu Panda Dojo. Basically the goal is to smack these sensor pads and break virtual objects. If you pass the first stage, you make it to the bonus round where you can get 2,000 tickets if you can grab 30 dumplings. Yes, I'm aware it's a weird game, but blame Jack Black for making the movies popular enough to warrant an arcade game, not me. I'm at a point where I can win the bonus round about 80% of the time. Okay, backstory over, onto the Karen. My dad and I were at our favorite Dave and Buster's location. We had gained a few thousand tickets that day, and my dad gave me the card and told me to win a crap ton of tickets. This is actually what he said, as he went to get another round of Coke Zeros for us. I immediately ran over to the Kung Fu Panda game, but someone was already using it. So I just hovered around and waited for my turn to use it. The kid in front of me, entitled kid, was somehow managing to miss every single target. The game over screen appeared and he walked off in a huff. I quickly jumped on and won the jackpot right away. I went again, and won again. Sadly, entitled kid had been watching. Entitled kid: hey, you're really good at that game. Me: thanks dude. Entitled kid: hey, can you win me the jackpot? Entitled kid tries to hand me his card. Me: sorry dude, but if you wanna win the jackpot, you gotta do it yourself. Entitled kid: now whining, please. I never win the jackpot. Me: that's not my problem. Now can you please just leave me alone? Entitled kid walked off in a huff. I got back to what I was doing, but his outburst threw me off my game, pun intended. So I stepped away to the shooter section and swiped into Terminator Salvation. Sadly, this story doesn't end here. I saw someone storming up to me with entitled kid at her side. It was Karen. Picture your typical Karen, but with brown hair instead of blonde and glasses, and you're picturing her. Karen: excuse me. What did you say to my darling boy? Me: huh. Do I know you, mom? Karen: you better get to know me, I'm entitled kid's mother. Me: lady, I don't know what you're talking about, but please just leave me alone. Karen: no. You have to apologize to my son. Me: what the heck are you talking about, lady? Karen: you told my son that he would never be good at playing games and tried to steal his card. I looked at entitled kid and he had this crap-eating grin plastered across his face. Me: look, I never said any of that to your kid, I just refused to play a game for him. Now get the heck out of my face. Karen: don't you freaking dare talk to me like that. You will give my son your card and win him the jackpot. Me: are you freaking nuts, lady? I have a ton of tickets on here. I wouldn't give it to you even if you had asked nicely. In hindsight, I really shouldn't have said we had a lot of tickets. My dad, seeing the quickly escalating crap storm, walked up to see what was going on. Dad: hi miss, could you please explain to me why you're yelling at my son? Karen: your son has been harassing me and my son, and threatened to steal my card. Me: I didn't do anything. This witch has been harassing me constantly and demanded for me to give her our card. I feel like I should point out that my family have basically no filter when it comes to swearing. While my parents didn't directly teach us kids colorful language, they didn't exactly put on a PG filter either. Dad: look Karen, OP and I are here to have a good time, so if you don't mind we'll be on our way. We tried to get around her, but she blocked our path. Karen, you two aren't going anywhere. You need to give me your card, and pay for our lunch for all the trouble you caused. Me and Dad at the same time. Freak off lady. Then came the famous Karen line, the single sentence that makes people around the world say, "Ah crap, here we go again. Karen, you two are being so rude, where's the manager?" The floor manager came walking over, let's call him Jimmy, made up name is made up. My dad and I had gotten to know Jimmy pretty well, and every now and then he would comp us a free game card. Jimmy, what's the problem mom? Karen, these two have been harassing me and my son. They tried to steal my card, and told my son that he could never be good at video games. Jimmy, that's funny, because in all the time I've known these two, they've never once been rude to another patron. My dad gave our side of the story, and with each word Jimmy's, oh for freak's sake, look got more and more apparent. Jimmy, look Karen, given the circumstances, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Karen and entitled kid together, what? Me, in a cowboy voice, "Ya heard the manager. Y'all best get outta here, 'fore I make ye." I should point out that I'm a huge theater nerd. Combine that with my being the smart bit of the century, arguments with me get crazy fast. Karen, but they're lying. You have to believe me. I demand that you kick 'em out for all of the trouble they've caused me. Jimmy, okay, if they're lying, then you won't mind if we go check the cameras. If I had gotten a picture of Karen's face in this moment, I would have it on a freaking t-shirt. She looked like she had seen Michael Myers standing behind him with a knife. Karen, oh okay. Jimmy took us into the back, and he reviewed the security feed. Obviously, he saw Karen bugging me, and he just sighed. Jimmy, Karen, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Karen, no. I won't leave until you make them give me their card. Jimmy called security, and they helped escort Karen and entitled kid out of the building. He then spent a comical amount of time apologizing for her behavior. He told us that she had been causing issues with other guests and staff before, and she had been warned that she was on her last chance. Jimmy tried to give a free game card to us for our troubles, but we both said the story we had to tell is more than enough. Thanks for reading, guys. Our final story of the day is called, "We are leaving for a month, take care of our child." So amidst this pandemic we learned that my uncle has decided to go on holiday with his family. He has a wife, 3 kids, 15 male, 13 female, 9 male. Already we all said it wasn't a good idea, but then we also hear that they plan on leaving their 15-year-old son, home alone. For a whole month. We live in the UK and I've googled it, technically it's not illegal. But it's just so reckless. The kid also doesn't want to go on holiday, I mean we've all dreamed of having the house to ourselves when we were younger. How is he meant to cook, shop, clean all by himself? His parents have basically created this situation where they are leaving, and if the rest of the family don't step in then we are the bad guys for leaving him alone. We've all refused point blank on helping out, but if the family still goes of course we will help him out. It's just infuriating that they seem to think it's okay to dump their child for a month, and assume everyone will help. Edit, a lot of people are asking about how self-reliant the kid is. He isn't able to cook, his mum cleans the home and even his room for him. The longest he's been left alone at home was for 1 night, so a month alone would be like throwing him in at the deep end. The parents' entitlement is that they are leaving their kid knowing that their extended family will just feel obliged to take care of him, essentially gaining another child for a month, with a 1-day notice. If you enjoyed this video be sure to drop us a like and a comment below, and if you haven't already clicked on subscribe, what are you waiting for? Mash subscribe now.